The sun scorched Willow Creek, turning the pristine neighborhood into a shimmering furnace. It was the hottest summer on record, and on a blistering Tuesday afternoon, Emma Larson stood in her driveway, her heart racing as she stared at a padlock glinting on her air conditioning unit. Sweat beaded on her forehead, not just from the heat, but from the realization that Karen Whitaker, the tyrannical president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, had struck again. Emma's dream of suburban peace was unraveling, and this was the spark that would ignite a battle she never saw coming. 3 years ago, Emma, a 32-year-old software engineer, had moved to Willow Creek, lured by its manicured lawns and colonial charm. The neighborhood felt like a haven after the chaos of city life, a place to code in her home office and build a quiet life. But the illusion shattered quickly. Karen Whitaker, the HOA president, ruled with an iron grip, her obsession with uniformity bordering on mania. Emma's first clash came weeks after MOVYing in, when she planted daisies in her front yard, unaware of the HOA's approved floral list. A violation notice appeared the next day, citing aesthetic discord. Emma, conflict-averse, replaced the daisies with mandated roses, thinking it a minor annoyance. She didn't know she'd just become Karen's target. Fast forward to July 2025, with temperatures soaring past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Emma relied on her air conditioning to keep her home office bearable for her remote tech job. More critically, her mother, Clara, who'd moved in after a stroke 6 months earlier, needed the cool air to manage her fragile health. Clara's doctor had warned that extreme heat could trigger seizures, making the AC a lifeline. Emma had the unit said, just days before, ensuring it was ready for the brutal summer. But Karen had other plans. That Tuesday, Emma was in a tool meeting pitching a new app to her team when the room grew stifling. She checked the thermostat off. Puzzled, she excused herself, noting Clara's flushed face in the VYing room. Outside, the truth hit like a punch. Karen stood by the AC unit, a padlock in hand, her expression smug. "What are you doing?" Emma demanded, her voice tight with barely contained fury. Karen didn't blink. "Your unit violates HOA rules, MS. Larson. Section 10, paragraph 5 requires board approval for exterior changes. This unit's new paint job wasn't submitted." "It's the same unit I've had for 3 years," Emma snapped. "The technician repainted it during maintenance." "It's not new. Repainting is a modification," Karen said, snapping the padlock onto the unit's electrical disconnect. "File for approval at Thursday's meeting." She handed Emma a violation notice and walked off, her heels clicking arrogantly. "My mother needs this AC," Emma called after her, panic rising. "She has a medical condition." Karen turned, her smile patronizing. "Rules are rules. Submit an emergency appeal." And she was gone. The house was already sweltering, the indoor temperature climbing to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Clara insisted she was fine, but her shallow breathing said otherwise. Emma set up fans and cool compresses, but with the outdoor heat nearing 105 degrees Fahrenheit, it was futile. She called the HOA's management company, who offered sympathy but no solutions, citing Karen's authority. "File an appeal," they droned. Emma's anger surged. She wasn't just fighting red tape. She was fighting for her mother's life. Desperate, Emma called her neighbor, Mike, a retired HVAC technician. He inspected the padlock, shaking his head. "This is nuts. It's not even a proper lock, just cheap hardware store crap. Karen had no right to touch her property. You could call this vandalism." The word vandalism lit a fire in Emma. She thanked Mike and dove into research, spending hours scouring the HOA bylaws and state laws. By morning, she had a plan. She documented everything. The indoor temperature, now 88 degrees Fahrenheit, Clara's worsening condition, and every interaction with Karen. She photographed the padlock and the unchanged AC unit. Clara's neurologist dead a letter stating the medical necessity of a cool environment. Emma's friend, Rachel, a property lawyer, confirmed Karen's actions were illegal, disabling essential utilities, especially with knowledge of a medical need, could be harassment or elder endangerment. Emma filed a formal complaint with the HOA board, emailing each member with EVY of Karen's violations. No proper notice, unauthorized property access, and endangering a resident. She also called the city's building department, learning that tampering with HVAC systems without a permit was a code violation. An inspector agreed to sit that afternoon. But Clara was deteriorating, her speech slurred, her hands trembled. Emma didn't wait. She called 911. Paramedics arrived swiftly, drawing neighbors' stares. They stabilized Clara with fluids and oxygen, noting the house's 90 degrees Fahrenheit heat. Emma showed them the padlocked unit and the violation notice. The lead paramedic, Greg, frowned. "This is reckless. With your mother's condition, this could be elder endangerment. Want us to call the police?" "Yes," Emma said, her voice steady despite her fear. Police arrived as the building inspector pulled up. Emma explained the situation, showing the padlock, medical letter, and notice. Officer Daniels, a seasoned cop, took photos and listened carefully. "Where does Ms. Whitaker live?" he asked. Emma pointed to the pristine house at the street's end, its rose garden Karen's pride. "Everyone knows," she said. From her porch, Emma watched Daniels and his partner approach Karen's door. Karen answered, her HOA polo crisp, her face shifting from annoyance to unease. Her voice carried faintly, defensive. "I was enforcing the bylaws." The officers stayed calm, one taking notes as Karen gestured wildly toward Emma's house. Meanwhile, the inspector, Linda, examined the AC unit. "This lock's unauthorized and a safety hazard," she said, issuing a citation. "I'm fining the HOA." The officers returned with Karen, her face a mask of fury. Daniels approached Emma. "Ms. Whitaker claims the lock is HOA property and won't give us the key. Given your mother's condition, we need to restore your utilities. Can we cut the lock?" "Absolutely," Emma said, staring at Karen, who seethed nearby. "You can't," Karen shrieked as the officer used bolt cutters. "That's HOA property." Daniels turned to her. "Ma'am, you disabled this unit after being told of a medical emergency. That's not enforcement, that's reckless." The lock snapped, and Mike helped restart the AC. Cool air flowed, easing Clara's distress. The officers spoke to Karen again, their tone grave. Emma caught words like trespassing and endangerment. Karen's bravado faltered, her face paling as Daniels cuffed her. "Karen Whitaker, you're under arrest for reckless endangerment and trespassing," he said, leading her to the patrol car. Karen glared at Emma, spitting, "This isn't over." Neighbors watched, stunned, as Karen was driven away. The police report later detailed the charges, heightened by Clara's medical needs. The next day, the HOA's VYC president, Stephen, called apologetic. "Karen's been removed as president," he said. "We're overhauling our policies." He offered to cover Clara's medical costs, which Emma accepted cautiously. 2 weeks later, Karen faced court. Emma attended, watching as the judge reviewed the EVY Clara's records, police reports, and the inspector's citation. Karen's lawyer claimed she acted to uphold HOA rules, but the judge was unmoved. "Ms. Whitaker, you endangered a vulnerable resident," she said. Karen got 12 months probation, a DULA, $5,000 fine, and 200 hours of community care VYC at a senior center. Her composure cracked, the weight of consequences hitting hard. Emma left the courthouse lighter. Willow Creek felt freer, neighbors braver to speak out. She replanted daisies, a quiet rebellion. Clara, recovering, teased about their HOA war. For Emma, it was a VY tour not just over Karen, but over fear itself. The air was cool, the roses less perfect, and Willow Creek a little more like home. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.